What is the biggest challenge of moving to a new country? A challenge that almost nobody talks about. In nearly all destinations that we cover, from Spain to Greece, from Italy to Romania, and especially France, the most mentioned issue expats face is the language barrier. However, from my own experience of years helping hundreds of people to move and retire abroad, the language barrier is also one of the most underrated issues. People will spend a few weeks in France or Spain or Italy in tourist spots where everyone speaks English and assume that only with English they will be able to enjoy their lives to the fullest. But very often this is not the case and people regret it later. Learning the local language isn't just a benefit, it's a necessity if you want to thrive abroad. The good news is that there is an easier way to defeat the language barrier. When I first came to Europe, I was completely lost until I found the one tool that changed everything. A tool that helped me to learn one of the hardest languages in Europe. A language that makes German look like children's game. And I learned it in only a few years while having fun during the process. So today we'll discover a few reasons why you must learn the local language if you are moving anywhere, except the UK. But then, why would you move to the UK? And you also discovered a method that I use, a method that anyone can follow. The first reason you should learn the local language is that it improves your quality of life. Around 51% of Europeans speak English, but this varies by country. In the Netherlands, 90% speak English, but in Spain and Italy, it's only 22 and 34%. And these numbers are even lower in smaller towns in regions like Extremadura or Sicily. Unless you are moving to a country like the Netherlands or Sweden, English alone won't be enough. And you lack the knowledge of certain local things, like which dentist is available during the weekends. This is something you want to know, believe me. Speaking of healthcare, language barriers can make things harder. In a survey by Expat Insider, 1 in every 3 expats struggle with the healthcare system. Language issues were a big reason. Being able to speak with doctors, pharmacists, or emergency staff makes things smoother. It can also give you peace of mind during stressful situations. Learning the language also helps you integrate. A study by the Migration Policy Institute found that retirees who learn the local language make more local friends. Without this, you may feel isolated and stick to expat groups. From my own experience, with only English, your social circles will be extremely restricted. This limits your experience and could lead to loneliness, which is bad for your mental health. Financially, knowing the local language can prevent costly mistakes. From signing rental contracts to understanding tax laws, speaking the language helps. HSBC Expats Explorer found that 26% of expats had trouble managing finances due to language barriers. Learning the language helps you to deal with local authorities and businesses with confidence. There are also health benefits. Research from the University of Edinburgh shows that learning a second language can delay dementia by up to 5 years. So I guess Steve Kaufmann will have good mental health for many years to come, because he is the inventor of the method that helped me to learn one of the hardest languages in Europe in just a few years. Yes, I learned Polish. And not only that, using this method, I'm also learning French, Russian, and Latin. Using the method from Steve Kaufmann, it's very much possible to learn a new language in a short time, or even multiple languages. Steve himself is famous for speaking 20 languages, and he learned most of them after turning 60. This method is called Lingq, and it becomes an entire system of learning. Now, if there is one way to explain Lingq, I would say that it's to learn like a child. Have you ever realized that without learning grammar rules, declinations, and all these technicalities, children are still fluent in their mother language when they are 5 or 6 years old? They don't learn syntax or semantics, but still they use it almost to perfection by 7 years of age. And this explains why so many people learn languages in the wrong way. They start with grammar, then they get tangled in rules and exceptions, unable to express even simple thoughts smoothly. Imagine, for example, languages that have multiple grammar cases, like German with 4 or Polish with 7. Every single word will have multiple declinations that alter the way it's written or spoken. And these declinations, also known as declensions, depend on the function the word has in the phrase. You can say dog in 6 different ways in Polish, And for each way, there are different rules and exceptions. I spent 2 years trying to memorize these rules and exceptions. I failed. But then I discovered Lingq and the method of Steve Kaufmann, where you learn like a child. Not by memorizing grammar rules or syntax or semantics, but by exposing yourself to the language and having fun on the way. So here is how it works. So this is Lingq. When you are entering the program for the first time, their website or their application, this is the dashboard that you're going to see. It's going to be empty at first because you need to select the courses that you want to study. Here, you can select which language we want to learn. There are many languages available, from Arabic to German until more exotic ones like Esperanto, Afrikaans, and so on. So right now, I'm learning 3 new languages: French, Russian, and Latin. And I already learned Polish. Portuguese is here just because my wife is using my login, but right now I just started learning French and Russian and Latin. Polish, I already have a conversational level. I'm fluent in Polish. I learned it thanks to Lingq, and here you can see the number of words that I know in each language. So in Polish, I know 25,000 words. In Russian and French, which I just started, I know 500 and 400 words barely. So I selected a few courses to learn on Lingq, and this is probably the greatest thing about this method created by Steve Kaufmann, is that it's making learning fun. You learn like a child, and that's why children, they learn language so quickly and in such a seamless way, because they also have fun. They expose themselves to the language. So I am a history buff. I love history. I love reading about history, watching documentaries about history. I started to learn French while watching a documentary about the history of the Louvre Museum. It's a documentary that is available on YouTube. And Lingq allows you to learn a new language either by watching your favorite series on Netflix, by watching TED conferences, by watching YouTube, or by reading the news, like RFI here is a news channel in French. And they also have a lot of their own materials. So I selected this documentary from YouTube. When I enter here, it opens the entire transcript of the documentary. And if I click here on this play video down here, it's going to open the video. I'm going to put it here. You can make it bigger. I don't know if you guys are listening, but he's talking here. He's talking exactly this text. And while I watch him, I can actually read the transcript. The words that I know, if you see here, they are not marked in any color. Those words are the words that I already know. The words that I already saw somewhere and I'm still learning are marked in yellow. And the words that I never saw before, they are marked in blue. Surprisingly, for example, bonjour is a word that I didn't saw before yet because I'm just starting French. So when I click here, it repeats the word. It gives me the meanings, and it already registered as a new word. Later on, when I going to review my vocabulary, there is a system of spaced repetition that is going to show me this word every 2 or 3 days at the beginning. Then after I learn it, it will show me every 1 week, then every 1 month. And when the system realizes that I know the meaning of this word, it will mark it as no. And then it will be a new word that I already know. So that's why how you acquire vocabulary, both on the listening side and on the reading side of Lingq. And as I said, it has an immense amount of content about pretty much anything. I also like to read philosophy, and I'm reading a book from a Roman philosopher called Seneca. The book is called De la brevité de la vie in French, or On the Brevity of Life in English. I have the entire audiobook on Lingq, and then I can listen to the audiobook and at the same time read the book while acquiring the vocabulary of those words that I still don't know. So you learn a lot of new words, a lot of new expressions. You learn both to how they are written and how they sound and how to speak them. But of course, this is not the only thing of Lingq. You can also train your writing. You can also write new words, train your capacity to write texts. And that works via a very interesting system of community, where you enter the community, you can participate on writing exchanges, where you correct other students that are learning your native language. For example, my native language is Portuguese, and I'm also fluent in English and now in Polish and in Spanish. So I can correct people that write in those 3 languages. So I go here, for example, I need to find Portuguese. Yes. I can correct those texts that people wrote. And by correcting their texts, I'm going to earn credits. And I can use those credits to ask for French people to correct my texts that I write in French. So it's a very altruistic way that works really, really, really fine. For example, in Polish, I wrote a lot of texts when I was learning. In a matter of hours, people already corrected my texts, and they give tips how to write it better. They give me ideas how to make certain phrases simpler. It was really, really beneficial to me. And thanks to that, I could learn one of the hardest European languages, which is Polish. And on the top of all that, if you want, you can hire even tutors via Lingq. So this website is the most powerful tool that I ever saw to learn new languages. I tried others like Manrise, I tried Babel, I tried Busu. None of them worked as good as Lingq. And this is a personal story. When I was younger, I tried to learn German. I spent a lot of money on a language school, but I got bored, and I couldn't go every time I had classes. I couldn't study at my time, and it was a lot of grammar. What I spent in 1 month to learn German is more than what Lingq cost me for an entire year. This program, this method is extremely affordable. And even better, here's a surprise. If you use this code here, Levi de Souza, you're going to have 40% discount to subscribe to Lingq. So, as I said, it's a very effective method. It would not be, I will not be showing that to you if it didn't help me already to learn Polish. And I'm also learning a few other languages. My wife is learning Portuguese in this method. So give it a try. You can make a free trial if you want. And if you want to subscribe it, you can use this coupon here, this code here, referral code, or the link that I'll leave in the description and in the comment section, and have a 40% discount on an annual subscription. It's extremely affordable. As I say, for an entire year, it costs less than 1 month of language school. That's it. Thank you very much. See you soon.